This is a conversation with Dayo McIntosh, who is the CEO and founder of Yateou. Yateou is an early-stage startup that makes wellness products and has a customer-facing robot, Addie, that personalizes customer orders. One thing that I found cool about Yateou is that they put Addie on a truck that's kind of like a big food truck that has a big window so that customers can see Addie working to make their customized order. It's an interesting way to draw people in so that Yateou can start a conversation with them about wellness, which is where Dayo's interest in the idea started. I enjoyed talking to Dayo to hear about her experience with Yateou. Her background isn't robotics, so it's interesting to hear about how she came to using her robot arm Addie, as well as hearing about the challenges she's encountered to get to where she is, such as having her truck with the robot stolen. And it's also interesting to hear about the clever things that she's doing to manage the complexity in her growing new business. I'm Audrow Nash. This is the Sense Think Act podcast. Thank you to our founding sponsor, Open Robotics. If you enjoy this interview, please consider subscribing. And now, here's my interview with Dayo. Hi, Dayo. Would you introduce yourself?
Hi, Audrow. My name is Dayo McIntosh, and I'm the founder and CEO of Yateou.
Would you tell me about Yateou?
Yes, Yateou is a sustainable clean beauty and wellness brand. We create products that are all natural, vegan, cruelty-free, and ethically sourced. And the unique thing about what we do is that we've incorporated robotics to bring that technology front and center to the beauty and wellness industries.
And how do you use robots?
So right now we have our essential oil mixologist robot called Addie. Addie is the first consumer-facing robot for the beauty and wellness industries. And currently we have Addie stationed in a moving truck, making it mobile. So we take Addie to different events, markets, and things like that. And people can interact and interface directly with Addie to create customized and personalized personal care and wellness products.
Gotcha. What does Addie look like?
Addie is a Kuka robot. It is about 2 feet tall, and it's a manipulator. It's an arm. It's a robotic arm, and again, it sits in a truck with a transparent glass that people can see and watch Addie in action.
Gotcha. And so you said Addie is the mixologist. What does that
Correct,
mean? What
yes.
is Addie actually doing?
So similar to a bartender, right? We have Addie going to different dispensing vats to create products, again, tailored to each individual person's personal care and wellness goals and wants. So for example, we have an interface, and someone like you would go up to the interface, for example, screen a tablet and say, hey, I want to mix this ingredient with this ingredient, and I want it to smell like this. And that would kick Addie into gear, and that's how we create personalized products.
Super cool. So for this, is there any so if I say my skin is super dry and I want it to smell like oranges or something like this, does Addie come up with a recipe, or do I have to say I want this much, I don't know, shea butter in it, or this much whatever? How does that work? Is it recommended based on goals, or is it like I know the ingredients?
So the full picture, the full range scale of this is to have give consumers the options to customize and mix and match however they want. But rolling out, we're going to start out with pre-made orders that people can adjust. So it's more of an adjustment than a full-blown customization feature.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. And how does so for Addie to do its mixologist work, how does Addie actually go to the dispensers? Are the dispensers robotic too? Does Addie push into something and it comes out like a soap container, or how does it work?
So the dispensers are not robotic. So they are actually wine bottles that we've added dispenser what do you call it, droppers to them, so to say. And the idea behind that is that we wanted to eliminate as much, or I wanted to eliminate as many possible holdups by limiting the number of automations or automated um, um, pieces we had in those operations. So Addy is the only robotic automated piece in this whole setup, and it goes to
Hmm.
each bottle depending on what you select and pushes up on the dispensing nozzle. That's what I was looking
Oh.
for. Pushes up on the nozzle, and that releases a set amount of liquid ingredient for the product.
So it's kind of like one of those soap dispensers in restrooms where you push the thing and a little bit comes out.
Exactly. It's exactly like
Oh.
that. Or something you'd see at a bar, for example. I don't know if you've seen those dispensers. Actually, I think they have them now at homes. Like you have those mobile um, bars that you can install in your kitchen, and they all have like nozzles that you attach to the
Oh,
bottom of yeah, like a cocktail bottle or liquor bottle, and then you just push up
fancy.
on that, and then you get what you want.
Gotcha. And then how do you control Addy for this? So does Addy know the position of all of the different ones, and you can say option one, option two, option three, and Addy
Exact.
will go push option one, option two, option three.
That's exactly how it's set up, yes. And
Oh.
currently, Addy is not fully automated, and that's what I'm working towards. So for the time being, we use the teach pendant, what we call a teach pendant.
Cool.
It's sort of like a controller. So think of like a game controller, for example, that you use to with your console. Um, so instead of that, like we have this teach pendant, and I
Hmm.
can call out the different positions that I want Addie to visit with the teach pendant, and that kicks Addie into gear.
So how does the teach pendant, what I'm imagining is like a big pen kind of thing with maybe like a bunch of QR tags or some fiducial markers on top, and you like hold it into a spot and there's a camera looking at it, and then you click it or something, and it says, okay, here is a location I want. Or is that how it works?
No, think of a really industrial looking tablet.
Oh, okay.
So that's exactly what the teach pendant is, a controller. Um, and so, like on this tablet, we have all the different programs, we have all the different positions.
Hmm.
And if I want Addie to go to bottles 1 and 7, I enter
Yep.
that into the teach pendant or onto the teach pendant and make that
Oh,
selection and click press or go or play. And that again gets Addie going.
gotcha. So you select all of the things you want Addy to do on this. So
Exactly.
it's like I want it to go to 1 and 7, whatever, and then
Exactly.
Addy will grab the bottle, bring it over there. How do you get it to know the initial positions of the bottles where it has to push to get the stuff?
I'm sorry, can you, how do we,
So if you have all the dispensers up,
mhm.
how do you so if you add a new dispenser to the right, say a bit further away, how would you tell Addy that there's one over there that it could go push for option 10, say?
So right now everything is controlled. We have a limited amount of dispensers. We have
Yep.
20 of them, so 20 positions that are set.
Yep.
So if we're introducing a new ingredient, we're taking something else out. So like
Mm,
Adi doesn't go beyond the set parameters that we have in place right now. And
yeah. Or I
um,
mean, for the first ones, so for all 20 of those, how did you tell Addy all those positions?
so that was programmed. We programmed it, and I worked with engineers to come up with the programming for this, and so that was
Yep.
hard coded. Um,
Ah,
yeah, and so Addie knows position 1 is,
here, 2 is there, 3
yeah,
is
this
there.
degree, yes, away from me, and yeah, so you can get to all those positions
Gotcha.
without knowing what exactly is there, right? It's just going to a position.
Yep. And how does so if you want to make a custom mix for someone, is it kind of like these different dispensers will top off the bottle, so you have like maybe you can pick the fragrance, and that's like one dispenser, and you can add some extra attribute like extra moisturizing or whatever it might be, and that makes it a little bit custom. But is it largely made already, and you're just
It's
adding like a little topping to it?
Exactly. It's largely made already.
Ah,
And what we're working on right now is that you can make adjustments to the recipe.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, and then this is all in a truck, and that truck has
Yes.
a big sheet of glass, so you
Yes.
can look and watch the robot working. Can you tell me a bit about that? Like,
Yeah, so when I set out the goal, and again the vision still for this is to be in a brick and mortar store, to
mm-hmm,
be sort of like the central point where people can come together, um, and it's going to be a safe place for self-discovery, for exploration, like finding clean, natural ingredients and products that work for your hair, skin, and wellness in general.
hmm,
And so that was the goal. But living in the Bay Area, we all know that real estate here is really expensive.
that
And
it is.
so when that didn't seem feasible, I had to think outside the box. And that's where the idea of the truck came about. I
Yeah,
really like the idea of having this experience, right? We're building this experience for people that will sort of engage them and get the conversation going about what they're using in their, like on their bodies, for example, and what
mm-hmm,
their overall personal care and wellness like regimen is. And
gotcha.
so that was the idea behind this. So you walk up to the truck and immediately you get this experience, right? You're walking up and right there in front of you is this robot, working to create a product tailored for you.
And so the way that it looks for the customer is they come up to you in your truck or whoever you have working for it, and then they talk to you for a little bit, and then you poke on your teach pendant or whatever you called it, the
Correct.
tablet,
Yes.
and then do you hand Addie a bottle? Does Addie go pick one up, or how does it work?
So right now we have it set. We have different trays, the different
Yep.
bottle sizes in the truck. So when we make the selection, Addie knows what bottle to go to based on what we've selected. So if we pick a
Ah,
small bottle, it'll go to tray one, medium bottle tray two, large bottle tray three. And so that's how it's
cool.
it's currently set up. Yes. So we don't do any of the like handling of bottles or ingredients. Like everything is housed again in the truck, and Addie manages that whole setup, so to say.
How does Addie pick up the bottle? Because that seems like a kind of tough task. So you have some sensors, like you have a camera or some sort of like physical sensors or something for telling where the bottles are? Or how do you?
No, so that's something that we're putting into place. But right now, everything is hard coded,
Yep,
so we can't afford to, move anything. So those trays are bolted into the ground so that regardless of where we go with the
nothing
truck,
moves.
like nothing moves, and so
Yeah.
that position is always constant. So Addie always knows if they want a small bottle, I go to this position, open up my gripper, and there's going to be something there for me.
Yep, but so getting a bottle on a tray, the tray is fixed, but like it has a bunch of bottles on it.
Correct, yes.
Um, how does Addie go and grab a bottle on a fixed tray? Like, is it
Um,
is it just you have like a bunch of bottles sitting in kind of like I don't know separate sections for each bottle, and it goes and it knows that this one is empty. Now it goes to the next one, or
um,
how does it pick the next
so
bottle?
so everything that we've done right now has been like really rudimentary, right? Eliminating
Yep,
any
uncertainty for
potential,
it.
yes, any uncertainty or
Do
any
you have just one
possibility
bottle
of a.
location for small, medium, and large, and you replace it every time, or?
Yes, so we have a long tray, and I feed in the bottles, or whoever feeds in the bottles, and then
Oh,
we have it on an incline. So whenever
so it
Addie
slides
grabs
down.
that, it slides down. Exactly,
Ah, that's
exactly.
clever. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I really like the approach you're taking, which is like keep the problem as simple as possible
Yes.
because you can always grow, and there's no need to like automate everything, especially while you're testing out an idea.
Right.
And so I really like it that it's so clever because you have three spots and the bottles just slide down into it.
Exactly. So one of my
Gotcha.
biggest fear when I started doing this, I did a lot of research
Yep.
about a lot of like consumer facing robotic applications, right? And
Hmm.
I found that the number one problem that customers or people seem to speak about was that these different applications, they were always down. Like um,
They weren't working
they weren't
often.
working often. Um, And the problem with that is if you have so many or different stations that are all automated, you run the risk of like one or the other going down. And so you're constantly fixing a problem. And so when I
Definitely.
set out to do this, I wanted to simplify it as much as possible.
Oh, totally.
Again, to begin with, and figure out the rest as we grow, as we move forward.
Uh-huh.
And so like everything is super simple
It's a
with
great
what
place
I'm
to
building
start.
right now. Yeah, yeah, it's been good so far.
And so, okay, now Addie has picked up a bottle from one of a set of spots. So you say a small, a medium, or a large bottle, or whatever the sizes are. She grabs one and then pushes and adds a few different things from the dispensers. I assume the bottles have no tops, like
That's
they're open,
correct. Yes,
so that
correct.
you can squirt right into it.
Right.
And then does Addie like, is there like a little door or something where Addie puts the bottle for you to give it to
Hmm.
the customer, or how does that, like the whole process now?
Okay. So let's say you walk up to the truck. You're like, "Hey,
Yep.
Dio, I want this product, and I want it this way."
Mm-hmm.
I input that selection onto the teach pendant. That kicks
Yep.
Addie into gear. Addie moves over to the trays with the product bottles, grabs a bottle,
Mm-hmm.
small, medium, or large, takes that and goes to the dispensers on the wall. So
Mm-hmm.
if you selected product number 1 and 7, for example, it would go to product one, or dispenser one, dispenser seven. And once
Mm-hmm.
that's done dispensing, it would deliver the bottle to two cutouts that we have in the truck. So
Mm-hmm.
in the truck, we cut out two doors. Think of it
Yeah.
as a trap door. Two doors with a revolving tray. So Addie
Mm-hmm.
would place the bottle on the tray on the inside of the truck. We would revolve that tray, and it would appear on the outside of the truck for the customer to grab.
Cool. Okay. So with this, how long have you been doing this? So how long have you had the truck set up with Addie?
um, 2 years.
Two
A
years.
little over 2 years, yeah. So we started doing our beta and showcasing Addy in Q4 of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as we all know, COVID hit, right, the
Yeah.
next year. And so all of that shut down. And actually, Addy was stolen. And so that set
What?
us back. And so we've been in the process of like rebuilding so that as things have opened back up, we can get back out there, showcasing and doing what we do.
So you don't currently have an Addy,
Um,
or did you get
so
another replacement Addy?
yeah, it's a funny story. So now I currently have two Addies. So
Oh, great.
the original Addy the truck was stolen with
What?
Addy.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's wild. They ended
What?
up destroying the truck, taking the computer, the brains behind Addy. So
Uh-huh.
Addy's a manipulator, right? It's just the
Yep.
arm, the hardware, and then you have the controller, the brains behind it. So they
Yeah.
took that. I'm guessing they took it for the wires. So that was missing, and so I had to start over, purchase a
Gosh.
new Addy, and so now I just have the manipulator, the arm of for the first
And
one.
ah, that's crazy. I can't believe. Just how did they steal your truck with this? Did it like at night you just found your truck missing, or
Yeah,
what kind of thing? Are you in the
yeah.
Oakland area, or where are you at
No,
the?
I am actually, I would consider this the suburbs. I live in Newark, close to
Ah,
Fremont and just across the bridge from like Menlo Park and Palo Alto. Um,
gotcha.
so yeah, that was devastating.
I
And
bet. Gosh.
yeah, like I said, it was right before the lockdowns, so no one was working, everything was
Yep.
shut down, and so we just started
Ah,
rebuilding at the end of last year.
gotcha. I just had a friend who had his car stolen, and they just found it recently. But
Oh
like,
gosh.
it's so crazy, the car
It
thefts and things like
is.
this. Absolutely
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah,
And your
it's
robot
well.
truck. It's like,
And
the
my
freaking
robot truck, yeah, like a whole truck. I was like, how do you steal a whole truck?
A?
But
I
yeah,
know.
that happened. So it's part of the Yateou story.
Yeah. Gosh. Now, so 2 years, a lot, some difficulties with like the truck being stolen and COVID, but how have customers been engaging with Addy, and how's the experience been in the times that you have been in front of people so far?
Um, so we debuted Addie unofficially at Afrotech. So at the
Okay.
time, which was November of 2019,
Hmm.
it was just a really great opportunity to like showcase Addie, and have a crowd of people where we could get feedback and just kind of gauge people's reactions.
Hmm.
And so that was a really awesome experience. We got a lot of feedback, we got a lot of interest, and
Oh yeah,
we were really excited to launch after that based on the interest and the excitement that we found or that we received being at that event. And yeah, so it just, again, all of that, the lockdowns, the theft, all of that set us back, but we're gearing
for
up
sure.
again to go back out there. And we know that we're
Ah,
going to have the same amount of like excitement and interest that we had initially. So that's what motivates us to keep going. And that's what we're looking forward to.
hell yeah. Any like funny stories about people being just like thrilled or anything when the robot gives them their custom um, product or anything?
So when we launched, we weren't actually, or when we did our beta back then, we weren't actually in operation.
Hmm.
Um, so everything is just like online right now. People can buy pre-made products online,
Oh,
but we haven't actually ever started selling via Addy. Those have
oh,
all been
gotcha.
demos, and again, yeah, we were all of our plans were, you know,
Shifted by
put
the
in disarray, yes,
COVID
by
and
everything that
the
has
truck
happened.
being
Yeah,
stolen. That's
yeah,
nuts. I can't believe that happened.
yeah, yeah. So
Gotcha. Well,
we're really excited to again have this experience of actually selling with Addy and gauging customer experience or people's experience, and again getting that feedback. I think that's really important as we
for sure.
iterate and as we grow, right? So
So you mentioned it a little bit, but the hope with Addy is so basically people come for the robot and then it engages them in a meaningful conversation about
hmm
their self-care effectively.
yes,
That's kind of
yeah,
the draw of the robot and then maybe build a community around this.
yeah. Well, so Addy is definitely a novelty, right?
For sure.
We have it built into a truck, and
I know, I
I
love it.
think
It's like
right
a little
now
food
is
truck with a
I
robot in
love
it.
it too. Like it makes me super excited, and robotics is the future. So who knows what will happen? But it is a
Hmm.
novelty, and the idea is that the efficacy of our products will bring people back.
Mm.
I like to say that Addy serves two purposes. First, it's experiential retail. So again, you're having this experience. People have this fun. It's you're having
Gotcha.
conversations. You're having community right around this really fun, this novel, really interactive unique experience, right? And on
For
the other
sure.
hand, it's operational efficiency. So we envision a time where the second Addy will be put to use in the back, fulfilling orders and manufacturing. And
Hmm.
so that's the goal. A single robotic arm can churn out, based on our calculations, let's say about 500 products in a 24-hour period,
Hmm.
and even more than that. So that definitely kicks into gear what we're doing, and we're able to put out huge volumes,
As
and
opposed to like
control
if
all
you
of that.
were doing it manually, how long would that take? If you were to do
Yeah,
500?
I mean, 500, you have someone like making that. I would say maybe like less than half of that, possibly. But then you don't have people working 24/7,
Ah,
right? Like, um,
definitely. And also it's
we
highly manual and repetitive and like not
yes,
the best
and we would
human job.
rather, yeah, exactly. We would rather people, we would rather the humans use that time to engage and interface with customers and have meaningful conversations versus
Hmm.
doing this manual taxing work.
For sure. Huh. What a cool thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. So how I guess how did you pick a Kuka arm? Like those are like I believe pretty
Mm.
expensive arms. They're like really nice
Yes.
arms.
Yeah.
Aren't they like? I mean, you don't have to give me the exact number, but aren't they like $40,000 for like one of those arms? Something around
Yes,
there?
that's exactly right.
How
They
did you
are
pick
quite
it?
expensive. That is a very good question. I
They're
have
awesome.
to this day, I don't know. I just have this fascination with Kuka specifically. I have this fixation on Kuka, and again, it's unexplainable. I don't know why, but I think the few times I've been around robots, they've been Kukas, so that
Yep.
may explain that. But as far as the cost, you're absolutely right. They're all super expensive. And for
Hmm.
someone who's like bootstrapping and
It's a big expense all at once.
it's a big expense. And so when I set out working with limited funds, I send an SOS, this is what I call it, an SOS to different robotics groups that I was a part of,
Okay.
asking if anyone had any like used robots, that they could sell to me for a certain amount of money. And
Yeah.
someone happened to respond. And at the time, she was the CEO for Cafe X, the coffee
Okay.
robot in the Bay Area.
Cool.
And she just responded and say, "Hey, we have this arm in the back. It's been there for years. We don't even know if it works, but you're more than
You're
welcome to
welcome to
have
have
it."
it.
Yeah, and so that's how we got started. So I got
Whoa.
that for like a fraction, like maybe 10% of the cost of what
Huh.
what
That's
I would
wonderful.
typically be. Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
So that's my wild acquisition story of the
And
very
then the
first
second
Kuka.
one, is it something similar come through for the second one, or how did?
For the second one, we just got we're able to use the insurance money payout
Oh,
from the loss, yeah, to get the
that's
second one.
clever. I
Yeah.
mean, that like it works out pretty well.
I mean, yeah, I'd rather that didn't happen, but like,
I know.
that was great, right? That we had this option and we could
Yes,
replace, yeah, we could
that's
very
wonderful.
easily replace what
I'm
was
gl-
stolen.
I'm glad it was insured. Gosh,
I
that's
know. Yeah, it all worked out well. Yeah.
and then so now actually would you tell me a bit about your background? Because you've mentioned so you're not an engineer, but this
Yeah.
whole project, like how did you come to this?
That is a very good question. Like I get that question a lot because it just doesn't make sense, right? And
Well,
um,
I don't know.
well, it
I like
doesn't.
robotics. I think it makes sense, but yeah.
I love robotics. So for me personally, I've always been fascinated by innovation and just technology in general. I think that's just my personality. I have this very curious nature, and I'm again fascinated. That's the only way to put it. Fascinated by how things work, and
Hmm.
just the innovation behind it. And so
Yeah.
when I set out to create a business, I wanted to incorporate that fascination with innovation, with robotics into what I was doing. Again,
Hmm.
knowing that this is the future. So I tell people I'm not an engineer, I'm not a technologist by any stretch of the imagination. My background is actually in project management and program management, and I've done
Oh.
that for the last I did that over 10 years across the energy, oil and gas, tech industry, and real estate industry. And so I think
Hmm.
the acquired skill sets over, 10 years has really helped me in my um, bootstrapping efforts with the limited resources I have to get Addy and Yateou to where it is today.
Hmm. How did you? So how did you pick that you wanted to? I mean, just all the decisions along the way are really
Yeah,
interesting to me.
they
So,
are.
how did you pick consume? So robotics, okay, I get it. You're fascinated by
Hmm.
technology, and so you wanted to do something with technology. Is that
Hmm.
how it started? But then, like, how did you get into beauty products or like self-care products?
Yeah.
How did you
Yeah,
kind of marry the two ideas?
that's yeah, I
And
was
then,
laughing because yeah,
yeah.
go on.
And then fit them to the together and say we can make a robot do the final mix for these. It's
Yeah.
just it's interesting how you've arrived at this.
Yeah, like hearing you say it and hearing people say it, I admit it is crazy. Like I could never have, orchestrated this on my own. I think things just came together and lined up in a way that made so much sense. And now looking back, I'm just I I guess amazed at what has transpired.
Yeah.
So I started Yato after going through a really challenging point in my life. Um, I don't know if you're familiar with the stats that the medical community has put out about the lack of safe products in the market,
Oh,
like the toxic ingredients and
no, I don't really
chemicals that
know.
we see. Okay, so the beauty industry is unfortunately notorious for lax regulations around the ingredients and chemicals in a lot of the products that we use.
Hmm.
Um, and not only that, it hasn't always been inclusive. It didn't always cater to everybody, right? There were certain
Hmm.
demographics that were left out, such as myself, women of color.
Hmm.
And you learn that the average woman uses about 12 products on a daily basis that exposes her to about
Wow.
168 chemicals ingredients, a lot of which have now been linked to everything from like allergies to cancer and even reproductive dysfunction, which hits a bit too close to home for me. And so that's my
Gotcha.
story. That's the background of this, right? And so going through that really challenging point in my life, I decided or determined that I wanted to take better care of myself. I wanted to invest in my
Hmm.
well-being. I wanted to be conscious about the products that I was using, just as I was conscious about the food I was eating, right? So
Hmm.
I tend to eat healthy, and so I wanted to also have that reflected in the rest of my well-being, like the products I use and things like that.
Hmm.
And so I spent time doing a lot of research, but I was really disappointed with the lack of safe and again inclusive products in the market. Things have gotten much better because there's more awareness now, but at the time it was just sorely lacking. And so I started mixing and matching products in my kitchen. I started
Hmm.
creating products for myself, and that process was just very restorative and very therapeutic. And so I wanted to, I guess, offer that to others who were on similar paths, who were looking for solutions that were chemical free, non toxic, vegan, cruelty free. And so that's how Yateou got started. And from that, the idea of marrying technology to that, because again, where the world is evolving, right? And so I wanted to evolve or create a brand, a company that would be around and relevant, not just for today, but for the future. And so
Hmm.
that's where the idea of robotics came into being and marrying that together.
So the desire to start the company because of the lack of options, lack of inclusive options, and then the lack of safe options,
Hmm.
that came first. And then
Yes.
you then had the idea to put the robot. How did you fit the robot into the, like, how did you go, this is how I can use a robot in this situation? Like
Like
that
the
whole
aha
process is
moment.
interesting. Yeah.
I don't, again, I couldn't even tell you a pinpoint, like, this is exactly what happened
Yeah.
that set that in motion. It's just something clicked at some point, and I was like, I'm going to use a robot to create this really awesome
Hmm.
experience for people and get that conversation started. And who knows, I may have been primed from, you know, maybe robots I'd seen throughout my life or just different impressions. I can't exactly pinpoint, you know,
The specific
the
moment in
the
time. Yeah.
specific moments, but it just clicked. One day I was just like, and this is what we're doing, and we're going to incorporate robotics, and it's all going to like mesh. I like the way you said it. I say this a lot. We married um, the apothecary with robotics, and that's what we're doing. Marrying this
Apothecary is like
tr-
health, or it's what's apothecary? I don't know the word.
an
It's like
apothecary
skincare,
is,
or
yeah, in the past where you'd go to have um, I guess someone akin to a pharmacist back then,
oh,
create these like potions or
to cure
concoctions
all
that
the
you'd use for
ailments.
you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I like that idea of being very authentic, being very traditional, right? We're not using product or ingredients that people have never heard, don't know how to pronounce. It's all natural stuff, right? And
Hmm.
so just again going with that age old idea and marrying that with this technology, I think it just checks the box for me, um, of this beautiful
It's like the old and the
beautiful
new.
representation. Yeah, exactly. Just marrying the
Hmm.
old and the new. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I like it too. And one thing I'm struck by is your care about the experience rather than just like pumping out products. How did you decide to focus on the experience more than like say just making a bunch of them and like promoting with ads or like whatever other companies often do?
hmm Um, it goes back to, so Yateou means exceptional.
Ah,
Um,
what
and
language is it?
it's
Nigerian?
from,
Or I don't
it's
know.
Yoruba. It is Nigerian. So Yoruba is a tribe in Nigeria, and
Ah,
Yateou comes from the Yoruba tribe. So
okay.
yes. Um, it means exceptional because we acknowledge that there's no one size fits all when it comes to beauty and wellness. Like we're all
Hmm.
different. What might work for you might not necessarily work for me, and vice versa, right? And
Hmm.
so the idea behind this was that people have this platform to create products tailored to their unique goals and needs and wants.
Hmm.
And that was the idea, the driving force behind like the name, the brand, everything we're doing, right? The individualization and personalization of creating something for you that would force you or encourage you or empower you to invest in your well-being and take better care of yourself. Because when you do that, when you feel good, when you look good, it all translates to every aspect of your life, and your quality of life is so much better. And so
Hmm.
that is what we're about, right? We want people to have a better quality of life, so that they can really enjoy the one life they have to live.
Gotcha. Now, I don't know very much about like I don't know. Like I mean, I use
Yeah.
lotion, but that's about the extent of it.
Okay.
Can you tell me like I don't really know the so if I didn't use lotion or if I and then all the what are some of the other products and what's kind of the importance of all of these?
Yeah.
Like you say you feel really good, and thus if you feel really good, you're more confident or things like
Yeah.
this. But how does it kind of fit, and how can it specifically help a person to invest in their own what do you call it?
Well-being.
Well-being?
Well-being. Yes.
Okay.
Um, so we don't do like makeup, right? We're
Hmm.
more about the personal care. So it's, again, if you think about all those chemicals and ingredients that are toxic and affect your health, that's what we mean about feel good, right? It's not artificial.
Oh,
We're really concerned about actually feeling good, like you're healthy, you're well. When
yeah.
you're healthy, you're happy, right? Imagine if you have allergies or you have cancer as a result of what you're using. It affects your outlook, right? And
Hmm.
your carriage in general, just because you're miserable, you're in pain, or you're whatever it may be. So imagine being well, you're healthy, you feel
Yep.
good,
You're able to do the
and
things in life that you want to do.
that you want to do, yeah. And
Like
and I think
allergies
it seems
stifle it or like
right,
they
and
hurt
it
your
might seem
ability to.
so, yes, exactly, and it might seem so trivial, but like things like that really matter. And again, it
Hmm.
translates to every aspect of your life. If you're healthy and well, you're happy,
Yeah.
because you're not afflicted by, all these other things that might, um, cast a shadow or impact you negatively.
Yeah, you're never, I don't know, it's like if you're healthy, you don't think about it, but if you're unhealthy, you think about
Yes.
it a
Oh,
lot.
you think about it, yeah, and
Uh-huh,
and you're constant. It's a constant reminder.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah,
And so you can't do other things because you're preoccupied with just like health and existence and this kind of thing.
exactly,
And
exactly.
you're saying allergies, you said reproductive issues, a whole bunch,
Cancer.
cancer,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
these are coming like they're positively linked to products that are often used in the beauty industry. These like
They're linked
in,
to chemicals and ingredients that we see in everyday products that we use, and that's alarming, right?
for sure.
It's alarming. And again, it's new research, right? The medical community is now linking them to these things, but it's because of the awareness. So there's a organization called the EWG, and there's several other ones coming out that are focused on bringing awareness to things like this, so that
Huh.
we can change, or the government can change those lax regulations. Like we need to do better
Hmm.
because people are ill, they're
Oh yeah.
unwell because of, I mean, there's a direct correlation many times. So if we're able to like make those adjustments or make those changes, just imagine how happier, how like better off people would be in general.
Yeah, they can get on with
So
their lives rather than worrying about their
exactly,
sicknesses or whatever it might
exactly.
be.
Yeah,
Kind of live the life they want to live rather than what they're, I
yeah,
don't know, if
yeah,
they're having health difficulties or unable to have kids or
yeah.
something like that.
Exactly. And so we're going to, get that conversation started with Addie. We're going
Mm-hmm.
to engage people, draw them in, again, with this, fascination, this
Mm-hmm.
novelty. But really, we're after the the core of the matter, like the meat of it is that we want people to be intentional about how they take care of themselves, what they use, so
That's great.
that they have a better life.
Hell yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
So what's the range of products that you're mostly offering?
Yeah. So we started off with hair, skin, and aromatherapy oils. So right now we just offer oils and butters. So you mentioned you use lotion. A
Yeah.
butter is similar to a lotion, but it doesn't have water. Like the
Oh,
consistency
it's
of a
thicker,
lotion is
or
like
is
very
it?
light. Yeah, butter is very thick. So think of a
Oh, like
shea
a shea
butter.
butter? I love shea
Yeah,
butter.
exactly.
Yeah,
Oh, do you? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we offer things like that. Um, again, I talked about the hair for your skin. And then
Mm-hmm.
the diffuser oils, the aromatherapy oils are diffuser oils. So essential oil blends
Mm-hmm.
that you would add to your diffuser, and it it um, it changes the mood, right? It has an impact on your mood, and
Hmm.
those are again when we say well-being because that encapsulates personal care, beauty, and wellness in
Yeah,
general.
gotcha. And just for the essential oils and things, that's so that the world smells like the oils, right? So like you put it in something and it like bubbles it or something, and it makes it so that everything smells really nice. And you're saying that's tied to mood and things like this. I admit I'm really unsophisticated in this area.
That's fine. A lot of people don't know about this, but it's so essential oils have, because they are very natural, they're very potent, they're derived from plants,
Yeah.
from roots, whatever. They're potent and they're effective, right? They've been known. We can't make any claims because those haven't been cleared yet, but they've been known to help with like stress, to
Mm-hmm.
help with depression many times. Like there's a long list of the benefits of essential oils. Again, we can't
Yeah.
make any direct claims because there's still a lot of like research and
Mm-hmm.
that needs to go into that to make them, you know, things
Yeah.
that are
They're kind of
allowable of
experimental.
sorts. Yeah. So they've been known to help with certain things with health,
Yeah.
right, and well-being, and they've been used for years, for a long time. I want to say since the beginning of the world, but
A
um,
very long time.
so
Yeah.
so yeah, so we're just tapping into the benefits of those things, and
Mm-hmm.
again, when you diffuse these things, they help with those ailments. Like for example, we have a blend we call Sleep. It has chamomile, it has cedarwood, and it has French lavender,
Huh.
and that is to help you have like
I
a
bet that smells
restful.
great. Yeah.
It does. It smells amazing. It helps you have like a restful, peaceful sleep or
Mm-hmm.
sleep. And so, again, it all ties back to improving the quality of life, right? If you get good rest, um, you function better
Oh, totally.
during the day. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I like even I am not speaking about the efficiency of any of these towards like actually curing anything or fixing or reducing, but even from like a habit perspective, which I'm big into habits, like if you play the same music at the same time every day, it can make it easier to get into a specific state of
Yes.
like consciousness or something. And so if you were to do the same essential oil and you smell it and it's like, okay, now it's sleepy time, this kind of
Yes.
thing. That could be very
Y-
valuable, I
Yeah,
think. And
exactly.
especially good
Yes.
ingredients, so you're not like poisoning yourself while you're trying to get good sleep
Exactly.
and this kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So like we're very conscious about, again, like the stuff that we're giving people because it matters, right? We source everything from like one supplier
Hmm.
that works with like local farmers that are paid well above, what others are getting, because again, all of it matters. Like it all ties together. We're a very social conscious brand,
Yeah.
and that ties again into our mission to help people live their best lives.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
So you say where? Who else is in, or how's your team? And is it like
Yeah.
how many people are helping you guys at Yateou?
I am a solo founder,
Uh-huh.
and but I have built a village, and
Wonderful.
I've had like incredible partners along the way,
Mm-hmm.
that have helped me get to where I am. It hasn't been easy because again, it's so much easier when you have a team and you
Oh,
have
totally.
a co-founder and you guys are able to share the burdens, of building a business. But
And specialize to some level too.
exactly. But yeah, it's been me, from the concepts, the design, the operations, all of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I've just been really resourceful about finding the right people, along different, paths, of
Mm-hmm.
the journey, to come on board, to get me to the next level.
Gotcha. Do you so how do you work with software engineers and things like the people who program the ARM about the specific positions and
Hmm.
what to do?
How do I work with them?
Like, do you hire? Like, do you contract
Yes.
them, or you do?
Yes. Yeah.
Ah,
So they've been contractors. I've had a couple, but one of them has really been, instrumental in getting Addy to where it is. And I
they
tell the
shine. Yeah.
story because it's part of our startup story, right? I he happens to work at Tesla, and
Hmm.
when I set out to when I acquired the arm from Cafe X, I didn't know what to do, right? I had again limited
You're
funds.
like, I have
Um,
this. Now
I
what?
have this. Now what?
Yeah.
What do I do with it? I don't know what to do with it. I'd hired some people who had no idea what to do with it, because Kuka tends to be very proprietary and,
Yeah, it's pretty
um,
opaque as far as I
yes,
understand.
yeah, with a lot of the stuff that they do, and not a lot of people really know how to use a Kuka. But
Yeah.
I live in Newark, which is right next to Fremont, and I remembered that Tesla is down the street from me and happens to be one of the biggest customers of Kukas.
Hmm.
And so I
Oh,
just
yours.
started,
That's super clever. Okay.
yeah, I just started, spamming, is what I call it, spamming Tesla employees who had like robotics or, anything like that, on
Oh,
their LinkedIn profile. And that's how I met the engineer that, again, has been really instrumental in the build out for Addy. So, yeah.
gotcha. That's really cool. That's so funny to spam and try
Yep.
to get the talent.
I am the queen of spamming.
Well, I've heard this a lot from startups, where it's like you have a task and you need someone with a specific skill set, but you probably can't hire them fully because you're
Hmm.
bootstrapping.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you can contract them a little bit, but the clever thing that I've seen a few companies do is hire someone on like a contract basis to do a specific task. And you
Hmm.
look to the top companies like Tesla because they're basically a talent filter in some
Right.
sense.
Right.
And also, like, especially you being very clever and going, oh, Tesla uses a lot of Kuka arms, I can find
Hmm.
someone there.
Yeah.
That so that seems like a
I
very
think
smart
like
approach
starting a business forces you to think outside the box. I mean,
for sure.
many times your back is against the wall and you either sink or swim. And
Hmm.
so it's in those moments that I would say your all
Creativity
your
shines.
creativity, yes, let's use that word. Creativity really comes to light.
Desperation
So
based
desperation.
creativity.
Desperation masked as creativity, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yeah. That's
Yeah, I
when
get
it really comes
it.
to light. And so, yeah, that's how we got to where we are. But speaking
Gotcha.
about, hiring people for specific tasks, outside of the engineer that we used, I've used Upwork. I don't know if you're familiar with
Oh yeah,
Upwork.
yeah. They seem cool. Seems
Yeah,
like a
so I've
clever
used them
thing.
a lot to, to get people on board for what I need. For example, as we're looking to fully automate Addy,
Hmm.
a portion of that is, um, something we call a PLC,
Programmable
programmable
logic
logic
controller.
controller. Yeah. And then having an HMI, like a human machine interface.
Oh,
for the tablet I talked about. So like you're tapping on the tablet, you're tapping on the screen, and that
yeah.
kicks Addy into gear. So all of that is powered by this PLC.
Hmm.
And that has been the most challenging part of trying to automate this is
Oh,
finding
totally.
someone, yeah, who can develop that or build, that on top of what we have. And so
Yeah.
I've gone to Upwork several times to try to find the right talent that we need.
Huh. Has that been successful for you generally to find someone who's good with PLC stuff?
Um, Generally, I mean, we're
Mhm.
still, working that out, but
Yeah.
I
Sounds like
think
it. Yeah.
Upwork is a good resource for startups, for founders who are looking for contractors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, the PLC stuff, I don't know too much about it, but in my impression of it is it's like older factory robots, or maybe not even older, but like factory
Hmm.
robots. They would have programmable logic controllers, and that would be how you control the robot. And it was like this was like from the '60s or something like this that it was used.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I may be way off, maybe '80s, maybe I don't know, but it's amazing to me that those skills are still very like there's still if you are a PLC programmer, I think you can make a good salary.
Yeah.
But it's to me it sounds like painful work. for,
It
but
is, or just really challenging, and then you factor in the Kuka part, which
yep,
a lot of people don't have experience with. But yeah,
yeah,
PLCs is what it's sort of like the brains, right?
yep,
Especially if you have different components outside of the robot. So we have a payment system, we have the
oh
HMI, we have the robot. So the PLC serves as again the brains, the
yeah,
the project manager in a sense, like that knows when to call each component into action.
yep, for sure, like the high level organizer of everything.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
How do you well, I guess what's next for you guys? Like where do you think Yateou is headed?
So we definitely want to get back out there. That is a dream that was deferred. And so we want to pick up right where we started, which is
Hmm.
hitting the road with Addy, demoing, but now actually selling now that we have products and products that people can buy. So that is in the works right now. We partnered
Hmm.
with this company, Full Speed Automation, to work
Okay.
on the automation part of what we're doing.
Which
So they've been
automation part of it? Like from the web to distributing, or what part?
no, just the Addy part, the
Oh.
operation of the process, from when a person orders to what Addy does next, and then the
Ah.
final piece of that. So they've been a really great partner so far. They're building the first no-code um, sort of automated platform
Yep.
for manufacturing, for robotics in general, and so they saw a potential opportunity to utilize their program for a
Hmm.
robot and see what it does. And so we're
Cool.
able to work with them to see what comes of that. And
Hmm.
I think that will be done in May, and we'll finally be able to take Addy out. And again, yeah, hit the ground running and see what happens from there.
Uh-huh. And then growing, so you'll be selling your products, and then
Hmm.
I guess you'll figure out how to reinvest it at the time, whether it's making more of the operation autonomous or
Hmm.
grow. I guess
Yeah,
I don't know. I love the
yeah,
idea of a robot like food truck doing a service. I think that's the coolest
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many places we can take this. I mean, one of the things, again, because this is experiential, like we see an avenue where I talked about having it at festivals or like even private and corporate events.
Oh,
So something akin to like a photo booth that you'd see at a company party, but
yeah,
instead, or like a wedding, and you have custom, diffuser oils, essential oils for your guests, and they get to like play with the robot to create that. So
so
there's that
cool.
avenue, and then we're currently in the process of trying to patent our application, and so being able to like monetize that, I think
Mm,
is the next step. Like if we're able to do that, I think that changes the game, right? It changes everything.
I don't quite
If we're
understand. So you mean get a patent and then maybe you'll license it out or something so others can do something
Exactly. There's
similar
that, yeah, or franchise it,
or franchise it? Yeah.
do vending. So, so that is again another path that we can take. But
Huh.
for the immediate future, we're focused on, you
Getting back to
know,
the road.
just getting back to the road with our one truck, and then leasing Addy out, the truck out for like events and things like that. So that is the
Interesting.
immediate future, and yeah, we're excited to see what happens with that.
So you think your first show will be in May or your first
At the
end
At
of
the end
May?
of May, yes. And we're actually moving. We're relocating to Reno. So
Reno,
we
Nevada?
think Reno, Nevada,
Gotcha.
Reno,
Why?
Tahoe. Um, the tech scene is really up and coming there. I
Oh.
noticed. It's also well, it's close to California. It's close to the Bay Area, which I love. So I feel like that's still an option for me, right? I can very easily come back as needed.
Hmm.
And then finally, it's just a great, I think it's going to be a great exposure because you have people from all over coming to Tahoe or like that area for vacation, for whatever it may be. And so you have this element of like a big fish in a small pond type of deal.
Oh, yeah, I think
So
that's
we're
a smart
able
way
to
to do it.
get, yeah, so able to build brand awareness quicker than
Hmm.
we would here, and just meet the right people, meet the right investors, all in that area. So that's what I'm gambling on, and we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, I like it. I like the
Yeah.
explicit bet gambling it. I'm a big fan of that kind
Yeah,
of thing.
I mean, we'll see what happens, right? And I
Hmm.
figure worst case scenario, we can always come back. But I
Totally.
think that's going to be a great grooming ground for us to like really grow and flourish.
For sure. Do you once the ground has been hit and you're off, what do you imagine will be the first people you'll hire that'll
Oh,
like
that's
actually
easy.
be co-founder? Oh, it's easy. What
That
will it
is
be?
easy. Straight up. I need a marketing expert.
Ah,
That my first hire is going to be someone highly skilled in marketing in the beauty industry.
ah,
I am great at executing. I'm great at operations. I'm great at creating. I mean, I think everything I've done so far
mm-hmm.
um, has been great, right? My ability to do that. But one area that I struggle with is marketing, especially in the beauty industry, which is key.
Hmm.
Like that is crucial for a beauty
Ah,
brand. And so finding someone who has that background, that experience, expertise, all of that is the critical hire.
yes, totally.
I need that person and quickly. So yeah,
Yeah,
that is the first hire for sure.
hell yeah. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
investment. Are you have you taken any money yet? Well, are you looking for angel investors? Are you like where are you at in terms of funding?
Yeah. So so when this was just an idea, I was part of Founder Institute Accelerator, and
Hmm.
so there you're kind of like coached on like pitching, trying to raise money. But it was just
Uh-huh.
an idea, and such a wild idea that it just wasn't. Uh, I mean, I wasn't having like serious conversations, right?
Yep.
And so I just decided that I needed to put my head down, build, have traction, and then go back to the table for these people to take me seriously. And so
Mm,
that's what I set my mind on doing. I got a business loan, an
gotcha.
SBA loan, cashed out my 401k, and that's what has gotten me this far. I am now at the
Gotcha.
point where I do need to get some sort of investment. I have, working prototype, some traction,
Hmm.
and I feel like I can now go back to that table to have those conversations. And so I'm just starting down that path again. I think angel investors are who I need at this point,
Yeah.
before bringing in any institutional,
Like larger.
like venture capital investors.
Yeah, probably
So
some.
yeah, I need someone that believes in the vision, in the dream. And sometimes when I sit in front of investors, they don't quite get it. And so I know that they're not the right partners, right? I need
Oh,
someone
for sure.
that is like, I see where you're going with this, and I'm excited because I see the potential. That's
Yeah,
who I'm looking for, and that's what I need. So yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, you're starting a conversation and then you'll have quality products behind it, is how
Hmm.
I kind of see it. And the robot is a great way to start that conversation, get people excited. Like the
Yeah.
fact, I mean, I'm trying to imagine like other beauty products where they're like, we would be at a wedding or something, like some special event. It's like, it would just be like a shelf with their things. Whereas you,
Hmm.
like people will come over and see, it'll be like a big hit
Hmm. Yeah.
because everyone is
It's an
interested in seeing the
experience.
robot work. Yeah,
Yeah, you have it at a sweet 16 party or bar mitzvah
yeah,
or whatever. Like it's an experience. It's like, I mean, just like when the photo booths came out, right? Like people are constantly looking for entertainment or experiences at their events. And so this is just going to be one other option for them.
yeah. And then it starts off, it kicks off that wellness conversation
Hmm. Yeah.
too, and
Yeah.
also the conversation about a lot of the other companies, or maybe not a lot, I don't know, many other products having toxins and unhealthy things in
Yeah.
it. So then making people more conscious of
Yeah.
this.
More aware. Yeah. I feel like healthy eating,
Hmm.
I mean, similar to the path that took, right? It just became a thing in like maybe the last 6, 7
Yeah,
years.
totally.
Maybe more in the Bay Area in California, but around the country, it you really got
Hmm.
that urgency, or that
Oh
you
yeah,
started to see change in the last 5 or 6 years around healthy eating, organic things like that. So I think this
totally.
is going to take that same path of progression. You start in the conversation, and then people become fully aware, and they start making those necessary changes, lifestyle changes.
Yeah. Let's see. What are just kind of a bit of a side tangent, but what are some things people should look out for in products to make sure they're not putting toxic products on them?
You've heard of like parabens. Well, you may not have heard of it, but
I
like
think I have.
parabens,
I don't know anything about it.
sulfates, um, fragrances. You want to avoid things like that, and there's a long list, which I know there's some debate about that, because you can't cut out all like chemicals, right?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
even like
so you
plants have
need some of them.
carcinogens in them and things like this. So,
Exactly, but it's just being mindful about what you're using. So the US compared to, I think, the
Europe or
UK,
yeah,
Europe they have better regulations. They've limited the ingredients and the chemicals that can be used, and
yeah.
they're doing well. I mean, they still have those companies, and those companies have adjusted, right, to meet those charges. So
Hmm.
I think we can do the same thing over here as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And like going back to the angel investor talk, and you don't have to answer if
Hmm.
either it's too new or whatever, but what would be like a meaningful amount of money that you'd be looking for investment? Like how
Yeah.
much would kind of be a nice step for you to help you
Yeah.
keep the vision going?
I'm looking to raise 500,000 at this point, and
Hmm.
I've kind of projected that will be like a 12-month runway to get us to profitability. Is what I'm looking at in my mind, and that's to hire the right people, to get the inventory we need for some of the pursuits that have come our way, such as like B2B opportunities,
Hmm.
and then fully automating Addy and having that in-house manufacturing that I spoke about. So that's what I'm looking at raising right now, and then we'll adjust as we move forward.
Gotcha. And what lessons have you learned from this whole process?
Yeah.
Like what are some of the biggest takeaways if you had to do this all again? other than lock up the truck really, really quick?
um, I'll say start. First of all, start small
Hmm.
and start with just start somewhere.
Hmm.
I find sometimes I'm very much of a perfectionist and it can be crippling, right? And it took me a while to actually get out the gate because I wanted things to be perfect, or it had to be a certain way, it had to look a certain way. And sometimes you need to be in the market and generate feedback from people so that you can build a better product, right?
Hmm.
That would be my advice to myself, even if I could start over, is just go with the strength you have, start where you are, and then you can build on that as you go along. And then when I got started with the pre-made products, there were just so many things that I went to market with, so many options, because I wanted everyone to have an option like for
Hmm.
themselves, right? And it's very hard to like market that and to build on that when you get started. So I always say start small, get a small niche following, people that are crazy, absolutely crazy about what you're building, like
Hmm.
fanatical even about what you're building, because
Uh-huh.
that excitement, that passion like spreads and grows, right? And then you're able to draw more people in
Hmm.
based on their excitement. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I've heard of this whole idea of like, I don't know, there's like, if you have 10,000 fans or if you have 100 fans or something, um, like if you have that, so if you have the 10,000 fans and they, or let's say 1,000, and they give you $1 each or something like
Hmm.
this, or if you have 100 fans and they give you $10 each, they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So if you have like that core group that really likes
Yes.
what you're doing, you can
Yes.
have a small audience that's just like so behind you and they really get the
Yes. Yeah.
mission and this kind of thing.
Yeah. And again, that excitement, that passion is contagious
Yes, that's
because
true too.
they talk about it,
They'll be
people get
evangelists for it.
curious. Exactly. You have people that are curious now because they've heard so much about this. Yeah, it just it's just the I think the way to go, and it's a good lesson for me going forward.
Yes. Do you have any ideas on how to like foster that? Has anything you've done worked yet, or it's just, I don't know. I'm wondering
Yeah.
how's that going? Because it seems
So for
like a tough
so it
thing.
seems what go
It
ahead.
seems like a challenging thing because in theory it makes a lot of sense. Um, I don't know, the practical way of getting there seems a little murky to me.
Yeah. Um, I used to think social media was like so easy,
Hmm.
like marketing in general.
Ah,
You put up a picture and like, people come or whatever it may be, but I'm finding it's rocket science. Like
yeah,
there's a method to the madness. There
for
is,
sure.
it's I mean, you have to know what you're doing. And again, back to the beauty industry,
Hmm.
um, people are hesitant to try the unknown, right? Because you're talking about their health, which is kind of ironic because we're trying to like help them do better. But you're talking about
Yes.
your help and like overall like presentation and outlook, right? So people are very cautious about what they use.
Hmm.
And so they're very hesitant to try something new or something that hasn't been validated by a celebrity or an influencer or someone like
Ah.
that they would trust. And so that's one of the challenges that we're running into is finding that partnership or finding someone who can sort of give that validation or that blessing to take us to the next level. So
Hmm.
in the meantime, we're just trying different things to see what works. And then just trying to have conversations and connect with people
Hmm.
to yeah to grow from there.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine any other ways that robots will be used in your whole process? Or I mean, so you have the arm as a mixologist, and you have an arm as kind of a front show mixologist. Can you imagine any
Mm.
other ways robots can use? Or
What do you mean by front show?
oh,
Like
I was
the
meaning in the
one
truck.
doing the manufacture?
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, so we
you have
have
the
the one in
truck
the
and you have the
truck.
manufacturing one.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Um, so the patent we filed doesn't limit us to just like a robotic arm,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. So we have like it can look like whatever form that is, provided it's approved, right? Can
Yep.
look like a different form. And so in the future, like, we're going to explore what else we can do with that.
Ah,
Again, as technology evolves, as people become more familiar and comfortable with robots in general, we can really explore that down the road.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing that. I think it'll be
Yeah,
super
me
cool.
too. I again, I'm so excited about what I'm building here, right? Because I'm marrying this. I'm passionate about, you know, making a positive impact in the world.
Hmm.
And for me, that looks like helping people like live a better life, because that's connected to my personal story. And then like just dealing with innovation, robots in general, like how cool. So I'm super excited to be, building this brand where I get to marry those two things, and just see this crazy dream come to life. It just makes me really happy and excited. So I'm very excited to see what comes of this. I don't
Hell
know
yeah.
where it's gonna go. I don't know what it's gonna look like, 5 years, 10 years down the road. But I am excited about the journey.
Hell yeah. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. So, wrapping up, is there any contact info, website info, anything you'd like to pass on to our listeners and watchers?
Yeah, you can find us online on yateou.com, and that's yateou.com. On there, we have a contact form. You can reach out to us on there. You can also send us an email at hello@yateou, which is yateou.com. And yeah, we respond really quickly. And yeah. If anyone is looking for technical specs on the robot we have, it's a Kuka Agilus bot. The smaller one is a KR6 R700, and the larger one is a KR6 R900. So that
Hmm.
one is slightly bigger than the one we had previously, and it has a longer reach.
Awesome.
So
All right.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and yeah, I hope you're able to. Well, I can't really say this. I was gonna say I hope you have a good move, but it
That's
was nice
fine.
chatting with you, Audrow.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
Nice
you,
chatting
thank
with
you
you
for
too.
the
I enjoyed this.
opportunity. Yeah,
Hell yeah. All
yeah.
right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this conversation with Dayo McIntosh. If you enjoyed this interview, consider subscribing. Thank you again to our founding sponsor, Open Robotics. See you next time.